I had the chance to talk with Airline Weekly's managing partner, Seth Kaplan.
Well, a lot of people are going to get to fly the Boeing Dreamliner for the first time, the 787. It started flying in 2012, but with just a few of them in the air, most of us haven't gotten a chance yet. Now it'll become much more common. The Airbus 380, which started flying a few years ago, same thing. More of those being delivered, something that was very special just a few years ago, people taking photos as they boarded flights, now will begin to become more commonplace. Another thing a lot of us will see more of is premium economy. You know, when you're flying long haul, there's this huge gap between getting squeezed back in economy and those lie flat business class seats that have become so common now. Also a huge gap in price. Airlines have realized, you know what, there are a lot of people out there, particularly corporations, trying to pinch pennies who might not want to squeeze their employees in the back of the plane, but might not be able to pay for the nicest business class product, might want something in between. It's been around for a while, but now a lot of other airlines like Lufthansa that haven't had it in the past are beginning to offer it.
So you mentioned the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Not a lot of people have had a chance to experience it. Does it live up to its name and all the hype? I mean, what are some of the things we could expect on the Dreamliner that's better than your run-of-the-mill jetliner?
Yeah, the idea certainly, and what Boeing went around selling to airlines, is that it could be a win-win really for passengers and for airlines. Airlines love it because it's rather economical. It uses quite a bit less fuel, and with oil prices where they are nowadays, off their all-time highs, but still rather high, and with no sign that they're going to get any lower anytime soon, that's very important for airlines. Passengers seem to like the cabin comfort, really in all classes of service. For the first time, the air is somewhat different than it's been on other aircraft, somewhat more humid, a bit more like what you'd experience most places on the ground, and passengers do seem to appreciate that, as well as the lower noise. With every generation of aircraft, they become a little bit quieter, and the 787, like the A380, much quieter than some of the aircraft that we're typically accustomed to flying.
And if you fly a lot, you might want to hear this news. Did you know that 2012 was the safest year to board a plane since records have been kept? It's part of a report from a group that studies air travel around the world. Next hour, we'll be examining the safety and security issues of air travel in part 2 of my interview with Seth Kaplan. Now, we'll tell you about some big changes coming to those airport security checks and some airline partnerships. I spoke to Seth Kaplan about that earlier.
They can be a mixed bag for consumers. Let's be very honest. The reason any customers merge, one reason anyway, in any industry, not just the airline industry, is to eliminate a little bit of competition, what they call rationalizing capacity. And they're not doing that to try to lower fares for consumers. So from their perspective, control over a little more of the marketplace, which can mean higher fares. Although in the airline industry, this remains a highly fragmented industry. So, you know, in most cases, you're going, let's say, from 6 or 7 choices down to 5 or 6. Not a situation where, you know, you just have the only 2 players in town merging and creating a monopoly. But certainly in some markets, let's say from London to New York, where you have right now British Airways and American Airlines already together running sort of one merged virtual airline, you might call it, across the Atlantic. Now Delta and Virgin Atlantic together would be another rather powerful airline. On one hand, it might mean more convenience. You know, together, they'll offer many more flights, many more frequencies every day. So if the meeting runs late and you want to hop on the next flight, that next flight on either airline might just be an hour or 2 later rather than 3 or 4 hours later.
We certainly can't talk about airline travel without talking about security. So the TSA is supposed to expand its Trusted Traveler program. What is that going to mean for travelers? Are we going to see less hassles or more hassles?
Certainly for people who fly the most and have the most to lose when security is a big hassle, these are all mostly good developments. After years of security becoming more stringent for reasons that everybody understands, but it's still not pleasant to go through it. And now you have security agencies like the TSA in the U.S. and certainly others around the world saying, okay, what can we do to let the people who clearly aren't threats through more easily? So you have this pre-check program in the U.S. where people who are trusted, who fly very often, the airlines have said, yeah, this is somebody we can trust. Now don't, for example, necessarily have to take off their shoes or have to remove their laptop computers from their bags and things like those. And having gotten a chance now to use it a few times, I can tell you, after years of lots of people being yelled at about, hey, take all of those things out of your bag, now it almost feels strange to be told, no, don't take those things out. Just go right through. It's fine. Now, on arrival into a country, you have various programs that allow passengers through more quickly after they've registered and been pre-cleared. The good news there is that the programs in various countries are becoming more integrated, so that if you're in the program in the U.S., for example, now perhaps when you get to Australia, they know something about you as well and might be able to let you through more quickly.